Discover the incredible moment 12-year-old girl's hidden martial arts skills transformed Bully's life. Mia Thompson felt the weight of invisibility pressing down on her shoulders like an unwieldy backpack. At 12, she sat at the same worn cafeteria table every day, allowing the chatter of her peers to blur into a dull hum. Jake, the popular kid with an insufferably charming smile, was the ringleader of relentless pranks, and today, his target was her best friend, Sarah. Mia's heart raced, unease curling in her stomach like a tight fist. Did she support Sarah by saying something, or did she remain silent and watch as Jake toyed with her emotions? The quickening pace of Mia's thoughts made her pulse thunder painfully in her ears. Her father had recently lost his job, and the tension at home compounded the fears creeping into her daily life. Would she ever be brave enough to confront her fears? As her family's financial strain deepened, Mia longed for the resilience her grandfather embodied when he taught her martial arts. But mastering the art of resilience felt overshadowed by the loud chaos of the school halls and the pervading judgment of her peers. As she pushed away her half-eaten lunch, another round of laughter erupted. Jake had made a show of Sarah's lunch, mocking the peanut butter sandwich she'd scrunched into her bag. Gritting her teeth, Mia felt her own determination waver under the pressure of the moment. She hesitated, weighing her choices with a vicious intensity. If she said nothing, she was complicit. If she spoke up, would she find herself silenced, too? The anxiety pulled her in opposite directions like a riptide. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. In that instant, something shifted inside Mia. A surge of fire ignited her resolve. With a quick glance at Sarah's sad eyes, Mia clenched her fists. Could she really act, unleashing the skills her grandfather had imparted? As the words bubbled in her throat, each syllable felt like a weight. Her classmates began to notice, and their curious stares felt like a spotlight, intensifying the stakes. Would she step into the role she dreaded or remain shackled by fear? Then, just as Mia's voice escaped, she found herself rising, the potent cocktail of fear and resolve propelling her forward. No, she couldn't retreat. With the whispers swirling behind her, she confronted Jake, her very being trembling at what might come next. But now, it was no longer about Sarah. It was about Mia, discovering that bravery wasn't the absence of fear, but defiance despite it. Would she become the target now? Would she be brave enough for the storm to come? As the tension flickered between them, the world fell silent. Mia's heart hammered, the watery eyes of her peers watching, suspended in disbelief. Whatever would happen next could change everything. Mia's throat felt dry as she stood before Jake, the laughter around them fading into a haunting echo. The air thickened with anticipation, as if the universe was holding its breath, waiting for her to take the leap. For years, she had tucked away her martial arts lessons, gathering dust along with budding dreams of standing tall. But now, they surged forward like a tidal wave, and each heartbeat reminded her of her grandfather's steady voice: courage is the first step to strength. Caught in the electric tension, Mia's resolve sharpened. She sensed the weight of her classmates on her shoulders like a cloak. Their curiosity simmered with a fine edge of judgment. Would they laugh at her? Would they side with the bully who had mastered the art of mockery? But fear of judgment could no longer cage her. It fueled her just as anger swirled beneath the surface, stoking the flame of resilience and courage. "Stop it, Jake," she finally said, her voice steady despite the churning uncertainty deep inside. Clarity broke through her fear, lighting her path forward. A few students gasped, but Mia didn't break eye contact with him. Just because you think you're cool doesn't mean you can treat other people like trash. Giggles and whispers rushed through the crowd, but Mia pushed on. Her pulse raced, but anger mixed with fierce intent steadied her footing. The feeling in her gut transformed into defiance. She wasn't there to pick a fight, she was there to defend. Jake's expression flickered with surprise, darkening as the moment hung in the air, charged with a palpable tension. "Look who's talking. The invisible girl has decided to speak up," he retorted, his tone condescending as he stepped forward. Mia's heart sank momentarily, but she drew upon her grandfather's lessons. The way he positioned his body, grounded but fluid, came rushing back. She repositioned her stance, drawing on those martial arts teachings. This journey wasn't just about answering a bully, it was about standing firm in her own identity, refusing to be pressured into submission. "Maybe you should look in the mirror, Jake. It's not a reflection of who you want to be, it's just a facade," she countered, the words spilling out. Each syllable felt like a strike, building momentum with each moment. For a heartbeat, silence enveloped the cafeteria. Mia could feel the pulse of disbelief radiating from her peers. They hadn't anticipated this reaction. For the first time, she saw the glimmer of something shift in Jake's expression, a split second of uncertainty. "Who do you think you are?" he shot back, his bravado cracking. "I'm the girl who gets to decide how I want to be treated," Mia declared, her voice rising. "And I won't let you dictate that anymore." Suddenly, she didn't just feel like Mia, the shy girl. She felt like the martial artist she had longed to become. As murmurs grew louder, some classmates began to nod in agreement, emboldened by Mia's stand. But would she be able to hold this ground? Could she sustain this newfound strength against a wave of backlash? The atmosphere changed, tinged with uncertainty and excitement both for her and against Jake. The potential for conflict broadened, and whatever resolution this day would bring was still just out of reach. Feeling that the moment could erupt at any second, Mia braced herself for Jake's response. In her heart, a flicker of hope ignited. She was ready to face whatever came next, but the real question was whether this moment would propel her forward or pull her back into silence. As Jake squared his shoulders, preparing to respond, her determination consolidated into a singular thought. Now, the battle had only just begun. What would her next move be? Jake's face flushed crimson, a stark contrast against the cool cafeteria tiles. The room held its collective breath, the air thick with anticipation. Mia sensed the shift, the energy charged with the possibility of consequence not just for her, but for everyone watching. "Who do you think you are?" Jake's voice dripped with incredulity, a last-ditch effort to regain control. What if he retaliated physically or turned the crowd against her? She steeled herself internally, unwilling to let fear cloud her newfound resolve. "I know exactly who I am," Mia said, her confidence hardening with each word. "And I won't back down. Not now. Not ever." The affirmation echoed in her mind, a mantra that silenced the remaining whispers of doubt. For a moment, she almost believed him to be the real bully. Yet, as he squared his shoulders, an exposed vulnerability appeared, an unsure boy masquerading as a man. How long had this facade taken shape? It struck her that even the fiercest faces often hid deep insecurities. The crowd began to shift. A slow nod turned into murmurings of agreement, then into hushed discussions. They were collectively reconsidering their own perceptions of power and strength. Her words weren't just a response, they were a catalyst, awakening buried thoughts. Mia caught the eye of a few classmates, recognizing the unspoken solidarity forming among them. Jake took a step back, momentarily unnerved. The doubt flickered in his gaze, and something primal stirred within Mia. She might not have been a seasoned fighter, but today she had wielded her voice like a weapon. In the ensuing silence, her heart raced with exhilaration. This was true strength, she realized, emerging from within rather than borrowed from physical prowess, and yet, as her confidence swelled, she felt a rising tide of anxiety. What if this was just a fluke? What if her courage began to waver when faced with true conflict? Questions bombarded her like arrows. She had pushed through one threshold of fear, but did she have the stamina to keep moving forward, especially against someone like Jake? Murmurs crescendoed into a wave of support, a chorus urging Mia on. "Yeah, Mia!" someone shouted, a ripple of conviction vibrated through the crowd. She knew then that turning the tide in her favor required more than just vocal courage, it demanded persistence and the fire to face Jake again, whenever necessary. "I know you need to prove yourself, Jake, but bullying is not the way to do it. You're better than that," she called out, surprising even herself. "Am I trying to reach him? Would it work?" Mia wrestled with her intention, unsure whether she was standing up for her classmates or trying to redeem Jake beneath his hard shell. Suddenly, an unsettling voice echoed from the far end of the cafeteria. "Just leave him alone, Mia. Not everyone can be a karate champion like you think you are." Laughter rippled through the crowd, but instead of stinging, it propelled her. In that moment, Mia decided, a challenge could be the perfect storm she needed. The laughter that racked the cafeteria only reinforced her decision. She would harness this surge, transforming it into something powerful. "I'm just a girl who's reinventing herself. Join me, or step aside," she declared. Power surged through her, a newfound clarity emerging. Jake's expression morphed from anger to confusion, the storm of emotions swirling as he gritted his teeth, processing her words. Mia stood firmly, ready to confront whatever came next. She was no longer just a target, she was now an active participant in her story. As Jake's eyes flared with something akin to anger, Mia sensed that the true battle had begun. It wouldn't only be Jake she faced but also her own insecurities and fears about standing out. Could she sustain this newfound strength, or would she crumble under the pressure of being true to herself? As determination coiled within her, Mia felt the pulse of change beating in rhythm with her own heart. This was not just about Jake, it was also about breaking free from her past and shaping her future. What would she do when that fire of self-identity was tested at its core? The next confrontation loomed large, and Mia's journey had just ignited into a new chapter. In the days following the incident in the cafeteria, Mia felt a strange mix of empowerment and anxiety. Each morning, as she looked into her reflection, the girl staring back was different, brimming with untapped potential but also haunted by lingering doubts. Had she truly changed, or was this confidence just a momentary surge spurred by a singular confrontation? At school, whispers circulated. Her peers excitedly discussed the brave stand she took against Jake. Encouragement greeted her at every turn, but alongside that praise came a mounting pressure. Mia grappled with the expectations that now surrounded her. She was being thrust into a role she had never anticipated. Her karate classes became a sanctuary. As she trained, each punch and kick was a declaration of power, of control, of identity. The dojo reflected a space where she could navigate her fears in the presence of her sensei, who recognized the internal battle brewing within her. "Mia," he said during one of their sessions, "strength is not just in what you can do physically, but in your ability to stand for what you believe." Watching her training, Mia felt the weight of those words. What had begun as a martial arts class to shed her insecurities was evolving into a profound journey of self-discovery. But with every new lesson, deeper issues arose. The fear of complacency gnawed at her. What if she failed at maintaining this newfound strength? It was exhausting. That afternoon, she confronted that uncertainty head-on. Where Jake had once stood as her most formidable opponent, she now understood that the most significant challenges lay inside her. She needed a strategy, a plan to translate her on-the-mat skills to everyday life. Mia decided to approach her peers, those who rallied in support during her confrontation, not to bask in their accolades but to lead them. In her mind, she plotted how to take them on a journey of self-empowerment, showing them that tough moments required collective resilience rather than individual bravado. "Hey, everyone!" she called out during lunch the next day, her voice echoing with latent authority while she stood atop a chair to command attention. "I know what it feels like to be afraid and to doubt yourself. But if we come together, we can uplift each other rather than tear each other down." The room mesmerized her with anticipation. They were listening, absorbing every word. Mia's heart pounded, sensing that she was crossing another pivotal threshold. She was no longer just surviving but thriving. As she conveyed stories of her struggles, many began sharing their own experiences, stories of failures and fears transformed into fuel. A camaraderie formed, fracturing the past divisions fostered by fear. Yet, lurking in the corners of her mind was a persistent notion: even in unity, her battle with self-identity continued. But it was then that Jake re-entered the picture. One afternoon, as Mia stood in the school hallway planning a confidence-building workshop for her classmates, she caught sight of him alone at the end of the corridor. Their eyes met, and in that split second, everything shifted. Would she continue to reach out to him as she had in the cafeteria, risking the backlash and her own hard-earned strength? Or was there an inevitable reckoning ahead, a defining moment where she would need to decide if she was truly willing to lead not just herself but also someone who had often embodied her fears? The air was thick with tension, and Jake's scowl held a silent question. Now, Mia faced a new challenge. Would she become the voice of change, not just for herself but for those like Jake, caught in cycles of fear and misunderstanding? The moment hung precariously, teetering between the past and an uncertain future, urging her to take the next step in her transformation. What choice would she make, and what would it mean for the journey ahead? Would she have the courage to forge an unexpected alliance? Everything inside Mia screamed to look away, to disperse the tension suffocating the air around her. But the impulse to retreat was softened by the courage she had been cultivating, both in the dojo and within her own heart. As the silence stretched, she felt a surge of determination wash over her. Today, she wouldn't shy away. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, breaking the distance that separated them. Each footfall resonated with purpose, affirming her resolve. Every glance from onlooking classmates became an affirmation of her strength rather than a source of anxiety. She was no longer that timid girl cowering in Jake's shadow. Who was he today? She mused. Just another student trying to navigate the pitfalls of adolescence, just like her. "Jake," she called out as she approached, her voice steady and clear. "Can we talk?" His face morphed from scorn to surprise. It was a fleeting moment, but that flicker gave her hope. Perhaps there was room for understanding, even forgiveness. Recalling her sensei's wisdom about strength, she understood that confronting her past was a form of empowerment in itself. Jake shifted, a hint of defensiveness challenging her. "What do you want?" Instead of answering immediately, she recalled the testing matches in karate, where opponents faced each other with caution, preparing for the unexpected. An idea began to form in her mind, aligning her initiative with the possibility of negotiation. "I just want to understand," Mia replied, stressing her intention. "Things got out of hand before, and I think we both know that. If you could share what you're going through, maybe we could find a middle ground. I'm not here to fight." There was an uncomfortable pause, as Mia sensed Jake's internal struggle. She didn't draw back, she stayed present, a steady anchor amidst the fluctuating currents of fear and revelation. The vulnerability in her offer was palpable, both to Jake and to the watching crowd. "Why would you want to talk to me?" he finally said, skepticism lingering in the corners of his brow. "Because we're all stuck in something," she responded, her voice firm yet compassionate. "I wasn't always brave, you know. I let fear control me, and it took a lot for me to stand up for myself last time. I think we both know what it feels like to be trapped by our own fears." Mia's words hung in the air like a challenge, compelling Jake to consider the implications. In one moment, they were no longer adversaries but two individuals confronting their own demons. "What do you know about fear?" he asked, the walls around him showing cracks, and his voice softened, a modicum of curiosity creeping in. "I know it paralyzed me. I didn't want to be who I was," Mia shared, her voice dropping to a whisper. "I had to confront it. I found the courage to change, not just for myself but for others. Maybe it's time for you to try something different too." As she spoke, hope blossomed, the kind warmed by the idea of mutual evolution rather than antagonism. But as fleeting glances of understanding emerged, they were quickly overshadowed by a flicker of uncertainty in Jake's eyes. "Why should I trust you?" he challenged, the remnants of his old persona looming larger. Her heart raced, but she stood her ground. "It's your choice to make, Jake. You can keep acting out, or let this moment define something greater for you. I'm not here to judge but to offer a hand. You choose how to respond." Even as she professed her willingness to extend kindness, the echo of danger reverberated. Every aspect of her past decision now escalated, merging with the present uncertainty, as Mia comprehended that, in trying to reach out, she might be setting herself up for vulnerability once more. Would forgiveness and acceptance close the chapter on their past, or would it ignite a new conflict? She knew she had to be ready for anything. The air crackled between them, charged with possibility, as she awaited his response. The next moment would shape everything both for her and for him. Would they forge a new path, or would the old cycles of fear drag them back? Into conflict, the choice loomed, a decisive moment that would determine the course of Mia's journey and her lingering battle with identity. Would she truly embrace this chance to transform both her life and the boy who once haunted her? Mia sensed the air thicken around them, each moment stretching into eternity as Jake weighed her words. His brow furrowed with conflict. She felt a spark of doubt ignite in her gut. Would he reject her again, just as he had before? It would have been easier to walk away, to shield herself from another potential disappointment, but something deep within her, a quiet voice that had emerged from her recent struggles, urged her to remain, to embrace vulnerability as an act of courage. This was an opportunity to challenge not just Jake but also herself. "I know you're hurting, Jake. I can see it," she said, softening her stance. With every syllable, she felt the weight of her own scars, how they shaped her, but also how they had fueled her fight to rise. "Maybe you don't have to carry it alone." Jake avoided her gaze, fists clenching at his sides, yet she could see the disarray beneath his hard exterior. The boy she once feared now struck her as a lost soul, grappling with issues she could not fully comprehend. He was just a boy, she reminded herself, struggling the same way she had. "Look, I get it," Mia continued, her voice low. "What we did to each other, it hurt, but we can either keep repeating the cycle or break it. I chose to fight my fears, and that's how I found my strength. Can you try that too?" His hesitation filled the gap between them, an invisible barrier weighing heavy on Mia's heart. She had never been one to push others, but in this moment, she lost herself in the deeper motivations driving her. She felt the weight of expectation, not just from Jake or her classmates, but from herself. It was the expectation she had placed on herself to grow, to understand, and most importantly, to not turn away. "What if I don't want to change?" he finally muttered, the challenge in his voice softening. This was a doorway, a chance for dialogue rather than conflict. Mia ran her fingers through her hair, mustering every ounce of her hard-fought resolve. "Then at least you'll know you're choosing it. I'd rather make a choice than be swept away by fear. I've done that too many times already." As Mia spoke, she felt her own walls trembling. The dojo's teachings flooded back to her. Courage is not the absence of fear but the decision to confront it. The words resonated within, lighting a path forward, illuminating the doubts swirling inside her own heart. "Maybe I do feel like I'm drowning," Jake admitted, his voice now barely above a whisper. That admission cast a new light on the situation, the heaviness of his admission breaking through the tension like dawn splitting the night sky. For the first time, she saw a flicker of the boy she had hoped to reach. The kindness she offered stood as a stark contrast to the animosity of their past. With renewed energy, she leaned in a little closer, her gaze unwavering. "You're not alone," she said earnestly. "I'm here, really. If you want to talk, I'll listen. We can figure this out together." Jake's expression shifted, uncertainty battling with a faint glimmer of hope. The environment around them seemed to pause, the crowd's whispering fading. The moment hung precariously, fraught with anticipation. Mia's heart thudded against her chest. What if he turned away, back to the darkness he seemed to retreat into? What if she bared her heart only to face rejection yet again? But she quelled that voice, reminding herself of the strength she had assembled, not just in martial arts, but in confronting her own traumas, the same traumas that had lied dormant within her for so long. In that charged silence, she felt a swelling of empowerment. She had done her part, ventured into a space many would shy away from. This moment had transformed her. But what about Jake? Would he step into the light she offered, or would fear drag him back into the shadows? Before she could unravel that uncertainty, he responded, voice steadying. What if I can't? A heavy question, one that echoed back into her own struggles. Mia took a breath, ready to forge ahead. Then we'll find a way together. That's the point, right? You're not alone in this. Anymore. We'll face it together. As she uttered those words, the crowds around them felt smaller, their influence waning beneath the burgeoning connection she hoped to forge with Jake. But just then, the school bell rang, a jarring reminder that realities awaited them outside this charged bubble. In those ringing notes, Mia was reminded how quickly things could spiral. Would this moment of connection hold against the forces of their daily routines, beyond the confines of this conversation? Would she and Jake truly break free from the identities forged in conflict, or would the shadows of their pasts beckon them back into separation? Each question loomed as they faced the external world, pushing them both to reassess the risks of vulnerability in a world still fraught with potential for pain. As the bell tolled, Mia realized that their conversation was an unfinished narrative hanging in the air. What door would Jake choose to walk through next? Would he dare to embrace change, or retreat back into the comfort of animosity? Mia pushed through the throng of students flooding the hallways, each face a blur as anxiety wrapped around her heart like a vice. As the chatter from her peers faded into a dull hum, she couldn't shake the weight of the conversation with Jake. His uncertainty lingered in her mind, a haunting echo of her own battles with self-doubt. What would he choose? She entered the gym, the familiar smell of sweat and polished wood grounding her. The noise crescendoed as her teammates practiced their forms, the thud of feet against the mat reverberating like a heartbeat. Mia's breath steadied. This was her sanctuary, a place where she could reclaim her sense of self. She rolled her shoulders, shaking off the tension from their earlier interaction, and stepped onto the mat. Her sensei observed, the corners of his mouth curving into a supportive smile. He had witnessed her journey, the steps she had taken to wrestle her inner demons. Ready to spar, he called out, his voice a blend of challenge and camaraderie. Mia nodded, grounding her focus. In the past, she had shied away during matches, allowing the fear of failure to dim her skills. But today would be different. Today, she would engage not just with the physical demands of the dojo but with the mental resilience she was nurturing. As she faced off against her opponent, she felt a thrill of electricity build within her. The first strike flew her way, an instinctive reaction ignited, weaving into fluid motion. She deflected it effortlessly, the choreography of combat familiar yet exhilarating. The adrenaline surged, guiding her movements. Each block, each pivot became a reaffirmation of her progress, a rebuke to the old fears that clamored for dominance. Stronger, Mia. Her sensei encouraged as the spar intensified. With each interaction, she found not just strength but clarity. Each attack she parried forced a question to arise within. How had she transformed from a girl haunted by self-doubt to this warrior on the mat? As the match reached a fever pitch, she began to intuitively merge her technique with confidence. With a decisive kick, she landed a point, followed by a series of maneuvers that led her opponent off balance. The thrill rippled through her. She was not weaker, she was capable. But amidst the triumph, a flicker of Jake's vulnerability crept back, tangling itself with her success. In that moment, Mia understood that while she developed her outward skills, true strength lay in embracing compassion and connection, not just for herself but for others. What's next? Her sensei's voice broke through her reverie. Focus on harnessing that strength beyond the mat, he urged, knowing the layers of her journey were still unfolding. Mia nodded, commitment igniting within her. There was a lesson to be learned, one that reached far beyond the dojo. She recalled her conversation with Jake, the unresolved threads that still dangled between them. If she could embrace her vulnerabilities and confront them head-on, then perhaps Jake could, too. After practice, she stepped into the hallway, determination filling her veins. Would Jake decide to reach out, or would they remain tethered to their past? The prospect of their next encounter ignited a new sense of possibility. In that moment, Mia recognized that this was not merely about sparring or martial arts, it was a battle of spirit, a call for deeper understanding to face the fears vying for attention not only within herself but in Jake, too. And as the day faded, she pondered her next steps. Would she summon the courage to meet Jake once again, to unearth the truth behind his struggles? Would she bridge the gap between them, or slip back into the shadows? Each question loomed large, the answers still unwritten, the journey winding forth. With heart racing, she resolved to discover the potential for transformation, both within herself and with Jake. What would be unleashed when connections were forged, rather than feared? Would it be enough? Mia reached her locker, the hum of student chatter floating around her like flickering lights, each voice a reminder of the world beyond the mat. The satisfaction of her earlier sparring match thrummed through her, yet the gnawing uncertainty regarding Jake dulled the brightness of her victory. Opening her locker, she rummaged for her books, but her mind dwelled not on academics. Instead, it buzzed with the need to reach out to him, to bridge the disconnection that now felt like an anchor dragging her down. What was the nature of their bond? Did he even want her to seek him out? She shut her locker with a determined thud and set off towards the cafeteria, methodically crafting a plan as she navigated through the crowd. Each step pulsed with potential. If she could confront her fears on the mat, surely speaking to Jake was well within her grasp. But what if he brushed her off? The thought tightened her chest, a familiar pang of insecurity clawing at her. The cafeteria loomed ahead, filled with a sea of familiar faces and scattered laughter. Her stomach twisted. Conversations were already blaring, and she felt like an outsider in a place that once felt so comforting. There he was, Jake, sitting alone at a table, his gaze locked on the food in front of him, deep in thought. Mia hesitated momentarily, her pulse quickening as doubt crept in. Could she truly face this? She thought back to her recent match, the rush of adrenaline as she confronted challenges. What if she carried that spirit into this moment? Drawing a breath, she straightened her posture, her old fears dimming against the burgeoning light of her newfound resolve. As she approached, her mind raced with possible conversation starters and the weight of the unsaid. "Hey, Jake," she finally said, her voice a steadying anchor against the tremors of apprehension. He looked up, surprise flickering in his eyes. "Mia," he said, unease glimmering beneath the surface. "What's up?" The moment hung in the air, thick with unspoken words. "I wanted to see how you were doing," she said, dipping into vulnerability. "I know things have been chaotic." Jake nodded slowly, his eyes momentarily fixating on the table. "Not great, to be honest." The admission cut through Mia's hesitance, revealing layers of their shared experiences. "You don't have to face things alone, you know. I had a tough time too, especially before," she faltered, remembering not to overshadow his struggles. "I learned to talk about it." His gaze snapped back to hers, curiosity mingling with skepticism. "And that helped?" "It did. It taught me that strength is not just about winning fights. It's about understanding and connecting with each other." The clarity in her voice surprised even her. "I wish I had reached out sooner." For a moment, silence enveloped them, crackling with tension. Mia held her breath, wondering if she had pushed too far too soon. But the flicker of recognition in Jake's eyes fueled her courage. "I'm here if you want to share," she pressed gently, unexpectedly, his expression softened, his defenses lowering a notch. "I don't know if I can," he admitted, his voice almost a whisper. A flicker of hope ignited within Mia. "You don't have to share everything right away. Just know you're not alone in this. As she spoke, something shifted. The small tremors within her transformed into steadiness. Mia realized that her journey was not only about confronting her own fears, it was about empowering those around her, including Jake. They lingered in silence, the weight of their conversation hanging in the air. She could see the storm swirling within him, and a deep part of her knew this was just the beginning. Then, with a deep breath, Jake finally spoke. I guess I just don't know where to start." Mia felt her heart leap. Here was a chance to guide him, to reflect the strength she was learning to own herself. "Let us start together, one step at a time," she offered, her voice resolute. As their conversation delved deeper, the cafeteria around them faded away, absorbed in the newly forged bond. The road ahead was uncertain, yet Mia embraced the knots in her stomach as evidence of growth. If they could share the burden of their struggles, perhaps they both stood to learn something transformative. But amidst the flickers of hope, an unexpected silence fell. What lay beneath the surface of Jake's challenges? Would revealing the depth of his turmoil strengthen their connection or unravel it? Mia's heart raced, knowing that these answers would lead them further down an uncharted path, one ripe with the potential for discovery and healing. Mia took a moment, still processing the extent of what lay before her. The uncertainty in Jake's eyes mirrored her own anxiety, yet she felt propelled to dig deeper. This was more than an act of compassion, it was a plunge into vulnerability for both of them. Could her empathy truly inspire him to open up? "I've found that sometimes just saying what's inside is the hardest part," Mia encouraged, folding her hands on the table. "Think of it like sparring. You have to throw the first punch if you want to see how it goes." Jake shifted uncomfortably in his seat, his expression a mix of frustration and self-doubt. "It's not that simple," he replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "What if I just make things worse? I'm used to handling my problems on my own." In her mind, Mia ran through the parallels of their situations. She recalled her own reluctance to share her struggles, the shame she often felt creeping into her chest. She knew too well the way self-imposed isolation could suffocate growth. "But think about it," she pressed, her resolve hardening, "sometimes talking opens up a path to solutions we never considered." The flicker of recognition in Jake's gaze told her he was grappling with a tempest of fears. She could almost visualize the walls he'd built. Every experience must have felt like a personal attack on his identity. As she leaned closer, she could see him weighing her words, the battle between feeling exposed and the slight pull of hope. "What if I don't know what to say?" he finally admitted, the weight of vulnerability laid bare. "Start small," Mia advised, keeping her voice gentle but firm. "What's one thing that's been bothering you? We can take it one issue at a time." The seconds ticked by as they settled into their own world within the bustling cafeteria. Jake frowned, hesitating. Confession seemed like a heavyweight he was unprepared to lift. But Mia sensed that every anxious moment they spent together would be a step not just for him, but for her. Moments later, he looked her in the eye, a hint of defiance breaking through his turmoil. "Fine. I guess I feel like I'm failing at everything. School, sports, my dad. I can't keep up anymore." The floodgates creaked open, and Mia felt the air shift. Jake's shoulders lowered a fraction, as if the mere act of sharing this sentiment lifted a burden. Her heart swelled with understanding. "You're not failing," she replied, leaning forward. "That pressure only makes it heavier. Have you tried just being honest about how you feel to anyone? Maybe it could lighten your load." Another flicker of struggle crossed his face. What if it makes it worse? What if they don't understand? Mia recalled her own frantic thoughts in the moments leading to her bouts. "You won't know unless you try," she urged. "It's like learning a new technique. You don't get it on the first go. You keep practicing. It's the same with life." Suddenly, a realization struck her, a glimmer of potential sparked deeper within her. If she could help Jake confront his fears, she could pave the way for her own. The issues that had weighed her down recently were intertwined with his. It might be time to confront her own insecurities. Listen, Mia began, adrenaline coursing through her veins as she reflected on the tenacity required in martial arts. It's brave to begin talking. I think it could make a real difference in both our lives. Jake sat in thoughtful silence, the gears in his mind shifting slowly. Mia could see layers of fear beginning to peel away. Then, drawing in courage, he nodded almost imperceptibly. Okay. I'll try. As she allowed his words to settle in, a seed of confidence took root within her. Guiding him was sculpting her own resilience, and she could feel her own evolving strength reflected in his tentative acceptance. What remained unclear was the potential impact of their shared journey, but just as a new clarity started to crystallize in the air, another voice pierced through the moment, a reminder of a world outside of their intimate conversation. Mia. Hey, you coming to practice or what? Called Tyler, a classmate from the martial arts club. The casual tone masked an undercurrent of competitiveness. Mia turned, caught between the looming essence of the dojo's expectations and the unfolding dialogue with Jake. Would she abandon their conversation for the discipline she so fiercely pursued? Jake's expression shifted momentarily, a trace of anxiety re-emerging as he caught the distraction. Would he fall back into old fears? As Mia grappled with her choices, the edges of self-doubt crept back in. Did she prioritize pursuing her passion or continue to nurture this newfound path with Jake? In that brief moment of turmoil, Mia felt the stakes crystallize. This was about more than a casual practice session. It was about fully stepping into who she was meant to be, a champion, not just on the mat, but in the lives she touched. A choice loomed before her, one that could either solidify her evolving identity or cloud it with uncertainty. Would she choose the martial path or deepen her journey with Jake, reshaping both their futures? The moment required her to decide. Mia Thompson stood at the crossroads of her transformation, a palpable energy vibrating in the air around her. Instead of rushing off to the dojo, her heart compelled her to stay present, to nurture this fragile connection with Jake. It was a choice that echoed her recent growth, the decision to prioritize understanding and compassion over competition and fear. Just a minute. Mia called to Tyler, her voice steady and firm. The challenge of balancing her passion for martial arts with the pressing necessity of addressing Jake's vulnerabilities felt monumental. Yet something deep within her, a newfound confidence carved from days of introspection, told her that addressing Jake's isolation was as imperative as honing her skills. Turning her full attention back to Jake, Mia felt a wave of determination wash over her. It's okay to feel lost sometimes, she said, sensing the weight he carried. We're all on a journey, and sometimes we go off track. But that doesn't mean we have to walk it alone. Jake's expression softened amid the soft murmurs of the cafeteria. She could almost hear the cracking of his barriers. Her heart raced with both empathy and hope for a future built on newfound understanding. How about we work on tackling that pressure together? She suggested. I can show you some of the techniques I've learned in martial arts. I promise it can help relieve stress, and maybe we can talk about school while we train. For the first time, Mia saw a glimmer of intrigue spark in Jake's eyes. You would actually do that? He asked, his incredulity palpable. I would, she affirmed, her voice laced with sincerity. It was a commitment she was ready to embrace, both to guide Jake and to enhance her own growth. Okay, Jake finally said, his voice still low but his posture easing. I guess it's worth a shot. The electricity that crackled between them fostered an atmosphere ripe with potential. Moments later, as practice wrapped up, Mia led Jake to the dojo. There, amidst the scent of sweat and determination, they began to navigate the foundations of her martial art training, basic punches and blocks, rhythmically flowing one into the next. With every strike they practiced, Mia felt more assured in her role as a teacher, and she recognized that she was unraveling the layers of both Jake's struggles and her own. Their exchanges morphed from mere movements into conversations, blending physical techniques with emotional resonance. It feels good, Jake admitted as he delivered a swift jab. But I still don't know how to keep up with everything else in my life. Let us break it down, Mia encouraged, guiding him through his movements. What part of school seems the most overwhelming? Instinctively, she applied the same principles of martial arts to their dialogue, maintaining steady engagement while considering potential obstacles. As conversations flowed, Jake began to articulate more of his fears: falling grades and strained relationships. However, he also started to acknowledge that his sense of isolation weighed heavily on him, drawing parallels to how he had bullied others to mask his own insecurities. Mia felt her empathy deepen, realizing that this revelation was crucial for both of them. With time, what began as martial arts training evolved into profound conversations about resilience, vulnerability, and ultimately, mutual growth. The dojo transformed into a sacred space, a refuge where fears could be confronted rather than avoided. As they finished their final sparring session for the day, sweat-soaked and exhilarated, Mia marveled at how far they had both come. Jake's demeanor had shifted, the tension in his body had softened, replaced by a flicker of confidence. "I really appreciate this, Mia," he said eagerly. "I guess I never thought of reaching out to someone like this, and I didn't realize how much it would help." Mia smiled, the warmth of fulfillment radiating through her. "Being here for each other is what makes us stronger," she said, anchored in her own journey. "This is just the beginning for both of us." Time expanded as they stood in tandem, their struggle against fear now shared instead of solitary. The once ambiguous lines that defined their identities began to blur, revealing a community forged through understanding and connection. Mia realized then that transforming her martial arts skills into a force of change would be her true achievement. Not just improving her strength on the mat, but in nurturing what lay beyond it: relationships, empathy, and personal growth. With a deep sense of satisfaction, she looked at Jake. "From here on out, support is what we build our confidence on. We'll take on the world, one step, one kick at a time." As their laughter echoed through the dojo, Mia felt a deep sense of accomplishment. She had not only conquered her fears, she had paved the way for others to engage in their struggles too. This journey of self-discovery and courage had solidified her place not only as a martial artist but as a leader, a connector who empowers others by recognizing common battles and choosing courage in the face of adversity. The path was open before her now, and she embraced its promise with both arms, knowing that true strength wasn't merely about physical prowess. It was rooted in the connections nurtured through understanding and compassion. Now, Mia had a community both in the dojo and with Jake. As they ventured forward together with confidence fueled by their collective resolve. The journey ahead might be steep, but as Mia took the first step, she felt ready. This was the moment she had waited for, to stand as a champion not just on the mat, but in every life she touched. Now is the time for you to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these incredible stories coming. Comment below your reactions and theories about this powerful ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness Mia's journey of overcoming fear and embracing strength. You need to support this channel to see more incredible journeys of personal overcoming. Don't wait even one more second to share.